Ezra had been called by God to go serve him in the stark, difficult, unglittering land of Israel, but he had to serve with people who had been immersed for 70 years in Babylon. Thus, the distraction. In fact, their grandchildren didn't even know Hebrew and they couldn't read the Bible. So they had just kind of really gotten far away. God was far from these exiles' hearts and minds, far from their schedules, far from their lifestyles. There was no temple and there was no regular gathering of the people, and they had just diminished in even knowing about God. So God called Ezra to work with him. How do you reach people who are immersed in distractions? I think that's what the New York Times photographer detached, the one that took the phones out of the hands and the pictures and had everybody just looking. And he said, you're connected, but you're not communicating. How do you get people back to communicating with God and responding to him? How do you reach people who are immersed in distractions? How do you keep from getting immersed with them in their distractions? How do you keep from losing your focus on God when most people have? That's the challenge Ezra faced. So now look at Ezra 7 and verse 10. Because this verse has the elements that God said are the protection against distraction. And that's what we live around right now. We are the most distracted generation, I think, of history. So Ezra is our target. Look what he does. He prepared his heart. That's number one. Number two, he prepared it to seek the law of the Lord. What's law? Torah means the teachings of the divine teacher. He looked on the Bible as the divine teacher talking to him, teaching him. And so he got his life, he made room in his life, in his heart, his appetites, to seek to hear God. For what reason? To do it. He wasn't just doing a Bible study to fill in the blanks. He said, I want to do what you, O God, want me to do. Is there any difference in where we are today? We're living in a distracted world. We're surrounded by distracted people. How do we guard against being distracted? We prepare our hearts. And whatever it's making room in your life. And if I want room on the shelf and the shelf is full, I've got to take something off. I've got to sort out what's most important. I look at it, I put back what's most important. Communion is when we do that. We're sorting the shelf this morning. On your shelf is preparation of your heart to seek, to hear God's voice, not just to get more facts, but to do it, and and to teach others to do it. This is a little echo. This teach others is a little echo of Paul. Paul said, be followers together of me like I am of Christ. Did you know we're all supposed to be doing that? What did Jesus say? Go into all the world and make what? Disciples. Make pupils of Christ, who's not here and people can't see him, and so I become his representative. And I spend time with him so he can lead me, so I can tell others, follow me because I'm following Christ. That's what we're all called to do. And you know what communion is? It's when we reset our systems back to what Christ set at our salvation. He said, I bought you at a price. You're supposed to glorify me with your body and with your spirits. And the way you do that is you make a conscious effort every day to make room in your heart to seek and to obey and to find a way to teach others. Now, did you prepare time today before you got here to seek the Lord? Did you listen to him and say, I want to hear your voice and do it? And then when I gather at church, I have come to stir up others around me and say, what are you learning from the voice of the Lord? This is what I'm learning. How is he changing your life? Here's how he's changing mine. That is what the purpose of our gathering is. All week long, we're preparing our hearts and seeking the law of the Lord and doing it. And we find throughout the week and primarily when we gather, others to stir up to follow him.